You don't deserve to be in this family. You are a low-class girl. You don't deserve my son. Get out of this house, you gold digger. Before you marry into a family where everyone hates you except your husband, listen to Natasha's story. She thought love was enough. But what happens when love walks you into the lion's den? Betrayal, mockery, spiritual bondage, and then a confession that shook the entire house. Stay with me. This one will hit your soul. Natasha had been in love with Michael for 6 long, beautiful years. They met in university, inside a noisy, crowded canteen, over a tray of jollof rice and fried plantain. Michael was a confident second-year engineering student, tall and witty, with the kind of smile that made girls turn twice. Natasha was a shy, quiet first-year, studying mass communication, just trying to find her footing in a new world. But from that one conversation, everything changed. What started as friendly chats turned into long walks, shared dreams, and stolen kisses beneath campus trees. While other relationships faded after graduation, theirs only grew stronger. Michael graduated first and moved to Lagos, chasing independence. Though he came from a wealthy family, old money, the kind that built estates and ran companies, he refused to ride on his father's success. He wanted to be his own man, and he became one. He got a high-paying job in a multinational firm, built his own apartment, and stood on his own 2 feet. But no matter how busy life got, he never stopped calling, texting, or flying back to see Natasha. A year later, Natasha graduated too and joined him in the city. She found a good job in a media house. Their love was steady, loyal. 6 years of birthdays, Christmases, heartbreaks, and healing. Now Michael was ready. One evening, he knelt in their favorite rooftop restaurant and asked her to marry him. No crowd, no camera, just the Lagos skyline, a simple silver ring, and a tearful yes. Michael was overjoyed. The next day, he told his mother on a video call, "Mom, I found her, the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with." His mother's face lit up on the screen. "Oh, Michael, finally! Tell me about her. When are you bringing her home?" Michael smiled. "Very soon. Her name is Natasha." He didn't notice the pause on his mother's face, just a flicker, almost too fast to catch. "That's lovely," she said slowly. "When can we meet her?" Michael was the third of 6 children, 3 boys, 3 girls. Only his eldest brother, Martin, was married. Martin's wife came from a political family with connections and status. That was what their parents expected. Class marrying class. And then there was the family rule. The sons must marry and live with their wives in the family mansion, a 12-room estate on the edge of town, surrounded by high walls and thicker expectations. Michael didn't like the idea, but it was the family tradition. Still, he was too excited to think clearly. He told Natasha everything about the mansion, the parents, the tradition, and asked if she was ready to meet them. She smiled nervously, but her heart fluttered. 6 years. 6 years of loyalty and love. Of course she was ready. They fixed the date for the visit. On the morning of the introduction, Natasha wore a soft peach dress, curled her hair, and wore the perfume Michael had once said reminded him of sunrise. She practiced how to say "Good morning, ma," in a way that sounded both respectful and confident. She even bought a bouquet of flowers for his mother, just to be thoughtful. But as they drove towards the house, Natasha noticed something strange. Michael's grip on the steering wheel was tight, too tight. His jaw was clenched, and every time she asked if he was okay, he just smiled and said, "Yeah, I'm just thinking." Then they arrived at the gates. It wasn't just a house, it was a fortress. Black iron gates, tall fences, a cold wind. The security man looked at Natasha once, then turned to Michael and said quietly, "Oga, they are all waiting." The moment Natasha stepped into the Johnson mansion, something in her spirit shifted. It wasn't the gold-plated staircase or the marble floors that gleamed like glass. It wasn't the scent of imported candles or the chilling silence that echoed down the long, intimidating hallway. It was the atmosphere, that thick, invisible weight pressing against her chest, that cold, curious silence, that voice in her head whispering, "You don't belong here." Michael gently squeezed her hand as they entered the grand living room. "Don't be scared," he whispered, smiling. Seated on the cream velvet sofa were his parents, Mr. Patrick Johnson, looking reserved but curious, and Mrs. Beatrice Johnson, radiant in an expensive wine-colored gown, her makeup perfect, her eyes sharp. They both smiled politely. "Good afternoon, sir." "Good afternoon, ma," Natasha greeted, bowing slightly. They responded calmly. "Welcome, dear," Beatrice said. "Please have a seat." She sat delicately at the edge of the seat, trying not to let her nerves show. She clasped her palms tightly in her lap. And then the questioning began. "What is your name?" Beatrice asked. "Natasha." "Natasha Okeke," she answered, her voice barely above a whisper. "Who are your parents?" Natasha hesitated. Her throat felt dry. "My father is Mr. Chinedu Okeke, and my mother is Mrs. Nkiru Okeke," she said, glancing at Michael. "And what do they do?" Natasha paused again. This time the tension in the room rose like steam. Michael quickly stepped in, sensing her panic. "Mom, please. She just got here. Let her breathe." But Beatrice raised her hand. "Michael, don't interrupt me when I'm speaking to your future wife. If you want to marry her, then she should be able to answer a few basic questions." Michael clenched his jaw, but said nothing. Natasha nodded, gathering herself. "My father is a farmer. We have a small piece of land in the village where he cultivates and sells produce. My mother sells vegetables in the market." There was silence. You could hear the clock ticking. Then Beatrice blinked. Once. Twice. Her smile vanished like smoke. "Wait, what? Your father is not a politician? Or a businessman? A landowner?" "Nothing like that." Natasha shook her head gently. "No, ma. He's just a simple farmer." Beatrice leaned back slowly, her expression frozen in disbelief. "My God, Michael, is this a joke?" Michael sat up straighter. "Mom, you are from a prestigious family. Your grandfather built this empire. Your father is a board member of a national oil company. Your brother is married to the daughter of a former governor. And you bring home a girl whose parents sell vegetables?" "Beatrice," Mr. Johnson started. "No, Patrick. Don't even try to defend this. Look at her. She's probably here for the money. That's what girls like her do. They spot a rich man and stick to him like glue. You have no idea the kind of manipulation that goes on with these low-class girls. I've seen it too many times." Natasha's throat burned. She tried not to cry, but the shame was crawling all over her like ants. "I love her, Mom," Michael said firmly. "She's kind, she's loyal, she stood by me for 6 years. She's not here for the money, believe me. She's here because we have something real." Beatrice turned to him, her eyes icy. "You are my son, and as your mother, I am telling you, you are not marrying her. You can date her if you like, have fun, but marriage? Never. I didn't raise you to lower yourself." Natasha's tears finally slipped out, silent and slow. Michael turned towards his fiancée, took her hand again and said quietly, but with conviction, "I'm not marrying another woman, Mom. If you can't accept her, then you have to learn how to live with disappointment." Beatrice stood up. "Well, then you'll learn how to live without a family." The room fell silent. The living room door creaked open and in walked Martin, the eldest Johnson's son. Tall, dark-skinned, sharply dressed and exuding the aura of someone used to being listened to. Martin walked in with the air of entitlement that comes from marrying into a political dynasty and always getting his way. "Who do we have here?" he said cheerfully, walking over to Michael with a wide grin. He hugged him tight. "Michael, I'd missed you, bro. You just forgot about us, huh?" Michael chuckled weakly. "I didn't run away, Martin. I just needed to focus on building something for myself." Martin nodded. "I get it, I do. You've always wanted to prove yourself." Then he looked over at Natasha for the first time, squinting slightly as if trying to process what he was saying. Beatrice, always eager to stir the fire, jumped in. "Martin, you won't believe it. Your brother brought that low-class girl here to tell us he's getting married to her." Martin's smile disappeared. He turned to Michael with a subtle frown. "Is that true, Mike? You want to marry her?" Michael cited. "Yes, Martin. I love her. I've loved her for 6 years." "But she's clearly not from our world," Martin said. "You know the kind of family we come from. You can't just drag in anyone off the street because of emotions. This isn't a fairy tale." Before Michael could respond, the room door burst open. It was his two sisters, Amanda and Cynthia, stepping in with painted nails, sleek weaves, and attitude like they owned the air in the room. They squealed at the sight of their brother and hugged him tightly. "Oh, Mikey, you didn't tell us you were coming home." But when their eyes fell on Natasha, the warmth in the room dropped to freezing. Amanda tilted her head, her glossy lips parting. "Mom, what is this?" Beatrice didn't even look at Natasha as she spoke. "This is a low-class girl your brother wants to marry." Amanda scoffed. Cynthia let out a laugh that sounded more like mockery than surprise. Michael stood protectively beside Natasha. "She's not low-class, she's educated. She has a job, and she's kind." Amanda rolled her eyes. "Kind doesn't cut it when you're trying to match bloodlines, bro. What is she even wearing?" "I've seen better dressed mannequins," Cynthia added, smirking. And then Amanda spat it out like poison. "Why would you bring a slut into this house?" Michael snapped. "Point of correction. She's not a slut. She's my fiancé." The air cracked. Insults started flying. Words too sharp to forget, too loud to ignore. Natasha sat frozen at first, eyes burning, lips trembling. Then the weight was too much. She stood up and ran out of the mansion, choking on tears. "Natasha!" Michael shouted, chasing after her. He caught up with her outside, just near the fountain by the gate. "Please don't go," he begged, holding her arms. She turned to him, shaking. "Michael, did you hear them? Your mother, your brother, your sisters, they hate me. They don't even know me, but they have judged me. How do I marry into a family that doesn't even respect me?" "I know it's hard," Michael said, voice cracking. "But when they see who you really are, when they see your heart, they will change. Just give it time." "And what if they don't, Michael? What if this never changes? I'm scared." "I'm certain, Natasha," he whispered. "You are not in this alone, and I'm going to stand by you no matter what." Natasha hugged him tightly, tears soaking his shirt. "I don't want to lose you, Michael. You're the only man I've ever loved. And you're not going to lose me," he promised. "We're going to get married. Nothing's stopping us." He drove her home that night in silence, holding her hand the whole way. A week later, Natasha traveled back to the village. The sun burned soft over the red earth roads. Her little brother ran out to hug her. Her parents were in the backyard, and when she told them about Michael's plans to come and pay her bride price, joy filled their small house. But later that night, in the candlelight living room, Natasha sat alone with her mother. She told her everything. Her mother listened in silence, then shook her head. "My daughter, you know I will never deceive you," she said, voice heavy with worry. "What happened in that house is not something you ignore. You must not marry into a family that hates you." Natasha looked down, eyes wet. "But Mama, I love Michael. He loves me. He said they will grow to love me too." Her mother took her hand gently. "Love is beautiful, but it is not enough. If a tree is planted in poison, it cannot grow healthy no matter how strong its roots. You are not marrying just a man. You are marrying a family. A family that has already shown you the kind of pain they are capable of." Natasha shook her head, slightly crying. "I can't leave him. I don't know how to." Her mother looked deep into her daughter's eyes. "Then prepare your soul, my child. Because when a woman enters a house that despises her, she either learns to fight every day, or she breaks slowly until there's nothing left." 2 weeks later, the drums beat loud across Natasha's village. Dust rose from dancing feet. The sun kissed her radiant skin, and joy echoed from every corner of the compound. Michael and his father had arrived in style, matching agbada, SUVs, camera crew, gift basket overflowing with wine, yams, wrappers, and suitcases of cash. They had come to do the needful, pay Natasha's bride price and marry her traditionally. And they did. The ceremony was grand, more elegant than anyone in the village had ever seen. Women all related. Children danced. Even Natasha's skeptical aunt whispered, "This one entered jackpot." Natasha wore a rich burgundy lace gown with coral beads on her neck, her waist tied in silk. Her skin glowed. Her eyes sparkled. Michael couldn't stop staring at her like she was the only thing breathing. But behind the smiles and the glitter, one chair remained painfully empty. No one else from Michael's family came. No mother, no sisters, no brothers. The official excuse: "We can't be seen in that dirty village." The real reason: they all hated Natasha. Her mother noticed. Of course, she noticed. But she said nothing. She had warned her daughter. Now, she would step aside and let destiny run its course. As the celebration ended and the sun dipped into the hills, Natasha hugged her weeping siblings, kissed her father's hand, and knelt for her mother's blessing. "My daughter," her mother whispered into her ear, "since you chose this path, you must walk it with both eyes open. Don't lose yourself." Natasha nodded, but her heart was elsewhere, beating fast in the city where her new life would begin. The journey back was long, 6 hours of highway silence. Natasha slept half the way, clutching her husband's hand like a lifeline. Michael held her tightly, but when they pulled into the Johnson estate, reality returned. Mrs. Beatrice Johnson was waiting at the entrance, arms folded, face blank. As Natasha stepped out of the car with her luggage, Beatrice's mouth curved into a smirk. "So," she said coldly, "you finally succeeded. You married my son, you little gold digger. But let me assure you of one thing, you'll regret it." Natasha froze, her stomach sinking like a stone. Michael's father stepped in. "Beatrice, that's enough. This is her first day in this house. Is this how you treat your daughter-in-law?" But before the tension could break, Cynthia walked in, dressed like she was heading to a brunch date. She crossed her arms and rolled her eyes. "Please, Dad, don't scold Mom. She's only saying the truth. This girl bewitched my brother, and it won't last. That charm will fade, and when it does," she leaned in towards Natasha, "I'll be there to help break it." Michael stepped forward. "Mom," "Cynthia," he said sharply, "if any of you ever speak to my wife like that again, I promise you all, you will know what my wrath looks like." His voice shook the room. "And you," he turned to Cynthia, "first of all, go find yourself a man before coming to speak to my wife in her husband's house." Cynthia gasped. "Brother Mikey, how dare you speak to me like this?" She turned to Beatrice. "Mom, did you hear that?" Beatrice shook her head dramatically. "My daughter, don't worry. You are beautiful and valuable. You'll marry someone that matches our family status. This nobody is here to steal from us, because she's a thief in disguise." Michael didn't say another word. He simply picked up Natasha's suitcase and carried it upstairs. She followed him, holding back tears. No one had decorated the bedroom for them. The bed was bare, the windows shut. There were no flowers, no welcome notes, just a plain room and the heavy silence of rejection. But Michael lit up the space with one smile. He kissed her forehead gently, then disappeared into the kitchen. Minutes later, he returned with a tray, juice and apples. "I know you must be starving," he said softly. "Didn't cook anything, but don't worry. I've ordered your favorite meal, peppered chicken and coconut rice from the place you love." He placed the tray in front of her like she was royalty. "I have you now, Natasha. That's all that matters. I have the money to care for you and the strength to protect you. From now on, even if this whole house stands against you, I'll still be by your side." He knelt beside the bed. "Finally, you are my wife, my love, my own." For the first time since the insults began, Natasha smiled. She cupped her face and whispered, "I love you, Michael, no matter what." He grinned. "Tomorrow we start our honeymoon, just you and me, far away from this madness." And for one brief moment, she believed happiness had finally arrived. Natasha had packed her bags, ironed her new silk dresses, and arranged their passport wallets side by side. Their honeymoon was finally here. Her first real taste of peace. A week in Zanzibar, beachfront villas, no beaches, no insults, just her and Michael alone. She smiled as she placed the final perfume bottle in her travel bag, but that smile won't last, because Beatrice, her darling mother-in-law, had other plans. That same evening, Beatrice clenched her chest and fell to the floor with a loud thud. Her daughter screamed. Martin called the family doctor. Michael rushed to her side in panic. The doctors arrived quickly, took her vitals, ran a few tests, and said nothing seemed life-threatening. But Beatrice wailed, "If you children abandon me now, I swear I'll die. This is the end. My own son is going to leave me and travel the world with that girl while I'm here dying." Michael was torn. He still loved his mother. Even after all the poison she spat at his wife, she was his mother. He postponed the honeymoon. Natasha watched him cancel the bookings, her heart crumbling like sandcastles in the rain. He touched her cheek gently. "Don't be angry, sweetheart. I just need to make sure my mom's okay. We'll reschedule everything." Natasha nodded, hiding the pain. It was just another sacrifice. Another time she had to fold herself smaller for the sake of love. But what she didn't know was this. Beatrice wasn't sick, not even a cough. It was all a setup, a play, a script, perfectly executed, and it worked. 2 days later, Michael received a contract from Dubai, $1 million opportunity he couldn't reject. His father was already globetrotting, never staying in Nigeria long enough to see the chaos in his home. Michael kissed Natasha goodbye and whispered, "Just hold on for me, okay? 1 month and I'll be back. I love you." Then he left, and the mansion became a war zone, week 1 of hell. Martin walked into the kitchen one evening and found Natasha preparing dinner. "I'm starving," he snapped. "I want that food on the table in 5 minutes, you hear me?" "Yes, Martin," Natasha said softly. She rushed, slicing, frying, steaming. She tried her best, but with multiple dishes and only 2 hands, the food hit the table 30 minutes later. Martin slammed his fist on the table. "I said 5 minutes. Are you stupid or what?" "I'm sorry, Martin," she said quickly. "I had to finish the order." "Shut up! And don't you ever call me Martin again. Do I look like your mate? You're nothing but a servant in this house." "I'm your brother's wife," she said, trying to hold her dignity. Martin's face twisted in rage. Slap. A hot, thunderous slap landed on her face. She stumbled, stunned. Then, crash. He threw the plate of steaming jollof rice and goat meat straight into her face. The hot oil stung her eyes. She screamed. "You don't talk when I'm talking," he roared. His wife, Jennifer, walked in, saw Natasha on the floor and scoffed. "Look at you, filthy little girl, crying, weak, pathetic. Are you a dog? Pick yourself up and clean this mess, you low-class thing." Tears ran freely down Natasha's face as she crawled to grab a mop. Cynthia slapped her once for stepping on her mistakenly. Amanda pushed her down the stairs after calling her Barren. Sandra poured a bucket of soapy water over her head while she cleaned. "You are a witch," Amanda hissed one day. "You have eaten all your babies in that coven you call a womb. No child after 5 years." Sandra added, "You're not a wife. You are a waste of space." Beatrice watched it all and smiled. Sometimes she joined in. "You are useless," she told Natasha over breakfast, "just like your village mother. Maybe you should go back and start selling vegetables. This family needs strong women, not coarse ones." Natasha cried herself to sleep every night. She'd wake up at 2 a.m., kneel on the cold tiles and whisper, "God, please, just one child. Just one. Let me prove them wrong. Please." The mockery, humiliation, and beating became even more worse as the days passed. Michael would defend his wife as much as he could and would console her always. Sometimes, Natasha wanted to run away, but because of the love she has for Michael, she stayed. Michael called often in the beginning, but over time, the calls reduced. Then the text stopped. Eventually, even when he did call, his voice sounded tired, distracted, far away. Work is stressful, he said. She didn't tell him everything. She didn't want to burden him. She just prayed he'd come home soon. She endured all the pain, going to church and praying to God for at least one child. At some point, Michael stopped looking after her, but she continued praying for him, hoping that things would change. If only she had listened to her mother, she wouldn't be in this mess. But still, she continued praying for him, hoping things would change. But even love, when stabbed for too long, begins to shrink. 1 year passed, and Michael was no longer the man Natasha fell in love with. His voice had changed. His tone was sharp, heavy with bitterness. He called her names, mocked her pain. Some nights, he raised his hands, hitting her over trivial things, burnt rice, and misplaced shirt. Talking back, he wasn't the man who once cried with her during hard times. He had become cold, dangerously cold. Even worse, he started siding with his siblings. She doesn't respect this family, he said one evening. She acts like a victim, but she's just barren and bitter. Natasha stared at him, broken. 6 years of love, sacrifice, and pain. And now, he was mocking her barrenness. Mrs. Beatrice Johnson saw this moment as her final opportunity. Michael, she said gently, why waste your strength? Go and marry a real woman. Like my daughter's friend. She's still single. She's educated, polished and fertile. Or at least get someone else pregnant. What are you waiting for? Michael paused. Something inside him held him back. Something unseen. Something that restrained him. Mom, I don't know. I just don't feel ready yet. Let me think. Let me deal with this one first. But his hesitation only brought Natasha a few more months of misery. One afternoon, Natasha was eating quietly at the dining table, pasta and fried chicken. Just one peaceful moment to herself. Amanda walked in and froze. You should be ashamed of yourself, she hissed. You cannot give my brother a child, and you are here eating like a queen. Natasha blinked, holding her fork. Before she could say a word, splash, Amanda poured the hot food on her face. Natasha screamed in pain, pasta sliding down her neck, chicken bones crashing to the floor. But something snapped. She stood up, shaking. Her voice cracked. At least I'm married. I live in my husband's house. You are still single, still waiting, still chasing shadows. What can you say for yourself? Amanda's hand flew fast. Slap! But this time, Natasha caught it and returned it with full force. A brow erupted, hair pulling, slaps, screams. Beatrice ran in and dragged Natasha back, slapping her across the face. You fight my daughter, you ungrateful witch. In my house? Natasha fell to the floor. Her tears were silent now. Her soul was tired. 2 months later, Cynthia got married to a wealthy politician. A high society wedding, helicopters, Ashwebi, Lagos elite. Beatrice danced like a woman who had finally defeated her enemy. Months later, Amanda and Sandra also married into equally wealthy families. Beatrice beamed with pride. Look at my daughters now, she said smugly to Natasha. You mocked them, said they couldn't find husbands. But look now, all married, all respected, and you, still barren, still useless, still eating food you didn't earn. Natasha stayed silent, broken inside. She often stayed up at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering, God, why am I still here? She would have left long ago, if only she didn't still love Michael. Instead, she poured her heart into church, prayers, fasting, hope. She begged heaven to fix what hell had broken. 1 year after the sisters' marriages, everything began to collapse. Cynthia's rich husband became a monster. He brought women into their matrimonial home. Publicly, one of them got pregnant. Cynthia cried herself to sleep daily, mocked and humiliated by the new wife. Her once proud eyes were now always puffy and red. Amanda, her husband, was worse. He beat her for not knowing how to cook, how to clean, how to act like a wife. Eventually, he kicked her out like yesterday's garbage, married another woman a week later. Amanda returned to her father's house shattered, humiliated, and rejected. No man wanted her anymore. She had been chewed up and spat out. And Sandra was living like a housemaid. No child, no respect. Her husband's new woman ruled the house. Sandra often sat on the kitchen floor, crying silently, praying not to be slapped again. And the worst part, they couldn't report to anyone. Their husbands were too powerful, too connected. No one could touch them, not even Beatrice. Karma had found its way home. Quiet, patient, but deadly. One Sunday afternoon, Natasha went to church again. She had grown quieter over time. She no longer prayed for wealth. She prayed for peace. That day, the church was full. It was a deliverance service. As the man of God laid hands and prayed, he suddenly paused. When he reached Natasha, his eyes opened wide. "Jesus," he whispered. He placed her hand gently on her stomach and began to weep. "My sister, your barrenness is not natural. It is not your fault. The Spirit of God just revealed something to me. Your womb was tight. A woman has locked your destiny." Natasha broke down. She sobbed into her palms. Her cries pierced the heavens. "My daughter," the man said, "you were never barren. You were caged." The pastor's voice trembled with the weight of revelation. "Sister Natasha, the Lord has spoken. Your barrenness is not natural. It was done to you." Natasha's heart pounded. Her breath came thin. Tears gathered in her eyes. "Your mother-in-law," the man of God continued, "never accepted you. She wanted her son to marry someone else, her friend's daughter. When Michael refused, she sought revenge. Through the spiritual realm, she tied your womb. She turned your husband's heart against you. Also, you'll be chased out and replaced." Gasps echoed across the church. Natasha dropped to her knees. "But today," the pastor declared, "you shall be free. Because as the Bible says, there shall be no barren woman in Zion. And what God has not planted shall be uprooted." He gave her scriptures. He gave her oil. He gave her fire. "Begin a 7-day dry fast," he instructed, "from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. Midnight prayers. Rub this oil on your stomach. Speak life over your womb. God is not done with you." For 7 days, Natasha battled. No food, no sleep, just prayer. Every midnight she whispered, "I shall not be barren. My womb shall carry life." She anointed herself on her stomach and wept like Hannah. 2 weeks later, she missed her period. A test confirmed it. She was pregnant. Pregnant after 6 long years of weeping, humiliation and torment. She ran to Michael, eyes soaked in joy. "Honey, I'm pregnant." Michael froze, then laughed, then screamed, then hugged her so tight, her feet left the floor. "My God, my sweet Natasha, you have made me the happiest man alive." The man who once cursed her now became her peace. He took her shopping. He cooked for her. He massaged her swollen feet. He called her my queen, like it was her name. Love returned. So did peace. But Beatrice was not having it. Beatrice stormed into the shrine of the native doctor that did the charm for her. "Baba," she cried, "what is happening? You said she would remain barren, that Michael would hate her, but now she's 2 months pregnant and he's worshipping her like a goddess. I want her dead." Baba stared at her long and hard. "You didn't tell me she was marked," he said. "There is a force protecting her, a very powerful force. I cannot touch her again. Beatrice slammed her palm on the altar. "You are the most powerful native doctor in this region. I paid you a lot of money. Do something." Baba leaned back. "There is one thing left, but it's dangerous. And you must do it yourself, not me." "I'll do anything," she said desperately. He handed her a dark object and whispered, "Break this in front of your mirror. Call her name 3 times, but once it begins, it cannot be reversed." That night, Beatrice entered her bedroom. She locked the door, faced the mirror, struck the charm, and called, "Natasha, Natasha, Natasha." But the moment the 3rd name left her lips, a gust of wind blew through the room. The mirror cracked. The charm shattered, and Beatrice screamed. She ran madly into the living room, barefoot, hair loose, mouth foaming. "I'll confess! I'll confess!" The whole family rushed out in shock. Natasha came downstairs, heavily pregnant and confused. "Mother-in-law," she whispered. "What's wrong?" Beatrice dropped to the floor, shaking, screaming, crying. "I tied your womb. I did it. I wanted you gone. I hated you. I turned my son against you. It was me. Forgive me. Please forgive me." Gasps filled the room. Michael stood like a statue. "Mom, you did that to my wife?" She nodded, sobbing like a child. "I regret ever calling you my mother," he said, tears in his eyes. "From this day, you are nothing to me." Beatrice clutched Natasha's feet. "Forgive me, for the sake of that baby. Please, don't curse me." One by one, the others knelt down. Cynthia, Amanda, Sandra were sorry. They wept. "We didn't know. We mocked you. We beat you. We hated you for no reason." Even Martin came with his wife, who had lost their only son and was now barren. They knelt before Natasha in shame. She stood there, trembling. Then she fell to her knees and whispered, "God, thank you." She turned to them, voice shaking but strong. "I forgive you all for my child's sake, for my peace, because God is greater than man." She looked at the sisters. "You see, man is not God. The God of the poor does not sleep. You mocked me, called me barren, told me I'll never find happiness. But today, you sit here, husbandless, childless, broken. Yet, I forgive you." She turned to Martin and his wife. "I forgive you too." Michael held her hand and cried, "My love, I failed you. I was blind, but now I see, and I will never leave your side again." Beatrice ran naked into the streets, muttering to herself. 3 days later, she died screaming, chased by demons she once called friends. Michael's sisters were never married again, but they repented deeply and prayed every day for peace. The once buzzing Johnson mansion became quiet, peaceful, humble. Some months later, Natasha gave birth, twins, a boy and a girl. Michael cried, holding them. "My king, my queen," he whispered. Natasha smiled. The woman they called Barren had become the mother of 2 beautiful children. They lived happily ever after. Truly, evil doesn't pay. Moral lessons. Never underestimate the strength of the rejected. Evil may win for a moment, but it never wins forever. What God has written, no man, no witch can erase. And what he has planted, no Beatrice, no curse, no shrine can ever uproot. Forgiveness is power, but justice belongs to the Lord. Evil never pays. Love wins, always. And God never sleeps. Thank you, my amazing viewers, for watching this story to the very end. Your time, your reactions, your comments, and all your shares mean everything to me. Now I have one question for you. If you were in Natasha's shoes, would you forgive Beatrice or walk away forever? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your thoughts. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we tell stories that touch the soul and shake the table. Don't forget to hit the notification bell for more amazing tales just like this one. See you in the next one. Bye.